Hi, today we'll be heading into the World of Darkness 24 player raid. People really seem to be afraid of this one. I wonder why. With my guide you should be fine though, so let's get right into it. Starting off, you'll have to fight 3 Garms. Each one of these has an interruptible cast, and between your entire alliance you should have like 20 interrupts, so there's really no excuse for letting this cast go through. Back in the arena, there will also be big circle AoEs that you can dodge easily by having the tanks pull the Garms toward the barrier where you started. If you failed to interrupt earlier, you might now find yourself frozen inside of a huge AoE. Also, small side note to all tanks, there's a reason that there are 3 Garms. 3 parties, 3 Garms, 3 tanks. You know, division of labor and all that. After clearing the Garms, a 2-headed dragon and various adds called Sacrificed Ninja will spawn. They don't have mechanics, so just get rid of them. Moving on to the first boss. The Menace of Duty Roulettes, the Wiper of Parties, the Disbander, the Confuser of Sprouts, Angra Mainyu. Here's how you deal with him. Tanks need to keep Angra Mainyu standing still in the center of the arena to allow everyone to deal with the mechanics easily. Every time you move him around, somewhere a samurai dies, gives up on doing Alliance Raid Roulettes, and instead turns to doing ERP as a catgirl in Limsa. That's because of the massive cleave that the boss does in the direction he's facing, but also the first mechanic, double vision. Here you will have to alternate between what color you are standing in, light or dark. Simply remember the first color you stood in and move into the opposite one the next time the boss casts this ability. If you forget, take a look at your debuffs. You can also pre-position yourself because the front of the boss will always be light and the back of the boss will always be dark. The next thing that always gets people in this fight killed is Mortal Gaze. This ability requires you to look away from the boss as the cast finishes. And no, I don't mean looking away from your screen, Dumbo. I mean facing your character away from the boss. Your camera can still be pointed anywhere. Failing to do so will cause you to get a debuff called Doom, which will instantly kill you after a few seconds. To make absolutely sure you don't turn around too early, wait for the grey text telling you that you dodged a mechanic. If you still got Doom for whatever reason, you should run to one of the glowing pads around the arena for a last chance to dispel it. Around the arena there will be small adds. The off-tanks should pull these away from everyone else to interrupt their cast. From time to time the boss will cast level 100-150 flare. The way this mechanic is meant to be solved remains a mystery, as the Duty Roulette crowd has collectively decided it's not worth the brain power, as you can just run out of it and sacrifice the person targeted. Even attempting to solve the mechanic the way it's intended usually doesn't work because no one else does it. So I will spare Uplander these brain hurts and simply move on. Just run out of it, and if you get targeted, then I wish you best of luck, buddy. The last mechanic is Angra Mainyu's Russian Roulette. A quarter of the arena will be lit up at a time, and eventually the countdown will stop, and whatever area is lit up will become a deadly zone, killing anyone inside of it instantly. You have a few moments to get out, so ideally you should be stood in the center of the arena or between the zones, so you can make a move out should the countdown come to a stop. To remove the randomness from this mechanic, you can kill the hourglasses on the side of the arena. The last hourglass that you destroy will be the one in the zone that is going to get lit up. So as the hourglass gets low, make your way back into the center or to the sides of that area, and ideally let ranged people finish it off. With these tips, you should now be ready to take on Angra Mainyu. Moving on to another platform full of trash, Queen Skilla has a cast that should be interrupted called Ancient Flare. There will be portals on the sides that have to be focused down. Failing to destroy them will cause adds to spawn. After defeating Queen Skilla, be prepared to do the same thing for Zan's clone. Next up is the 5-headed dragon. This guy has a huge cleave. That's why tanks should face him away from the alliance raid at all times and make sure to dodge this attack themselves, as it will inflict a vulnerability debuff, making your healers hate you. Outside of that, you'll notice various markers on people and AoEs around the arena. Here's a quick summary. Lightning marker, stack with others to soak the damage together. Frost AoE, this will expand, so move away from it before it does. Air marker, get away from others, otherwise they will be knocked up and take damage with you. Firebird, couldn't get footage of that, but basically you'll have a fire tether on you that can be passed to someone else. Pass it to someone before you're about to die. After a while, the boss will cast Discordance. The 5 heads of the 5-headed dragon will become targetable, and his cast will deal less damage the more of the heads you manage to take down before it finishes. That's all for the 5-headed dragon. Moving on to the Jaws and the Artemis Prime. This fight follows a similar pattern to what we're already used to. 3 platforms, 3 parties. Each party has to DPS their own Atmos on the platform to damage the thing in the middle, the Atmos Prime. On each of the platforms there's an upper and lower part. The boss has 2 mechanics that can get you knocked off the upper part. First of all, what is collectively known as Suck. A random player will get a marker above the head and become the target of Suck. So the way to deal with this is to stand on the side of the Atmos to the rest of the team. If you have the marker yourself, you want to jump to the lower part of the platform to speed up the whole process a little bit. If people are too spread out for there to be a safe spot, just try to catch as few people as possible. The other mechanic that can get you knocked off is the Atmos knockback. To avoid this, you simply want to stand as close as you can to the center. Around your platform there will be glowing pads that you can stand on to activate other parties' jump pads, which can be found on the lower part of the platform. Stand on these, as having an entire party on the lower platform will cause a wipe. Next up is Cerberus. Repeat after me. A adds, B belly, C chains. These are the 3 main mechanics you'll have to deal with here, and each one of them is assigned to one party. A will deal with the adds called Wolfsbane. These really hurt, so the off-tank should make sure to grab these ASAP. Ignoring the adds can easily lead to a wipe. B will deal with the belly. What that means is that they have to get eaten by Cerberus and kill various adds inside his belly. To do that, stand close to the gastric juice until it turns you small. Then run into the purple puddle. You'll get stunned, and after a few seconds, Cerberus will have you for dinner. Once inside his belly, and after a few moments he'll vomit you out, and the fight will continue as normal. After all that is done, C will chain Cerberus when he starts doing his long cast called Reawakening. To do that, grab the magic fetters on the north side of the arena and attach them to the open fetters on Cerberus' sides. After that, it's a matter of just DPSing him down. Moving on to the final boss, the Cloud of Darkness. This one is really easy but requires the damage dealers to do mechanics that might cause DPS loss. So naturally it's always a shit show. But I get it, dear samurais and ninjas, just keep standing there next to the boss and DPS it while the rest of the alliance raid wins the fight for you, while you jerk yourself off to your orange Cloud of Darkness pass that no one will ever see. From time to time there will be meteors falling from the sky that have to be soaked by players. Just stand inside the area until the marker disappears. The boss will also spawn clouds and a big channeling ability. These have to be killed before reaching the boss. Later on, there will be 3 clouds in their own respective zone that players will have to get locked into to defeat it. Failing to defeat a cloud will cause a wipe. Ideally, the Alliance raid should assign each cloud to a party. However, it's sufficient to have enough players in each area to kill the cloud in time. So when in doubt on whether or not you can make it in time, just go into any of the zones. A good time to start running is whenever this dialogue appears. Outside of these mechanics, the boss will teleport around the edge of the arena and deal damage in a big line AoE in front of her. Whatever you do, do not stand in front of her. When she disappears right in front of you, she's just teleporting to another spot around the arena, so look out for her and make sure you don't stand in front of her like I just did right here. If you keep all this in mind, the World of Darkness should be no trouble for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!